Alrighty, guys, it is time. We are getting ready for the bestest time of the year. And guess what? My microphone is the wrong one. I'm gonna have to set this up real quick. Hang on. Let's see if it'll find it this time.
Doesn't sound like it.
Good golly, Miss Molly, what the hell? There we go. Now we're on the Eddy. Now we're on the Eddy. I apologize about that. I was going to check earlier, but before I got with you, I rebooted, make sure everything was working. Anyways, can you hear me okay?
Yep.
All right, we are back. We are ready to go for our top 10 board games of all time. These are the best of the best, the best of the best of the best of the best. These are the ones we love the most. These are the 10 games that we couldn't do without and we love so much. I really, really like my top 10 this year. Really, really like my top 10 this year. I think if I was going to compare my top 10 this year with last year, I would have to say it's even better than last year. And I thought last year couldn't be better.
And mine is much the same just because I'm very picky about the games I like.
That's good then. That's good. That's good. How many so you have a lot of the in this general quadrant that was there last year. All right. Well, that's good.
Yep. Yeah.
That's good. That's actually I've got quite a not I would say a few that are very similar. Um, so before we get into this week, we're going to cover last week and let everyone know what we did in our episode last week. We did number 21 down to 11, and I'm going to get the chat up. There we go. So let's talk about last week really quickly. My number 20 was up from number 33. It's a wonderful light Euro game called Cascadia.
My number 20 was down 7 spots from 2024, Pandemic Reign of Cthulhu.
My number 19 was a classic game all the way down from number 4, so it's dropped quite a bit. Still love this game, and I bet you it's going to stay in the top 20. Ark Nova.
My number 19 was a new game to the list, Astro Knights by Andy Boards and Cards.
A lot of variability in that game.
Indeed.
My number 18 was Australia, a game that I think Phoenixknight would like if he ever got a copy of it. So if you got an extra copy floating around, send it to him, please, for the love of God. It was down from number 7 last year.
If you're through nagging me about Australia, my number 18 was Gloom of Kilfirth by Holler Nothing Productions.
My number 17 was the legendary Marvel deck building game, which was up from number 28. Great, awesome game.
My number 17 was also new to the list, Disney Animated by Funko Games.
My number 16 was number 6 last year. So that is 6, 7, and 4 are all going to be new this year because they've all moved. And it was Aeon's End.
My number 16 was up 6 spots from the last time I did this in 2024, Welcome To by Blue Cocker Games.
My number 15 was my 2025 game to learn in 2025, Darkest Night. So it's up quite a bit, all the way up from 42 to 15.
My number 15 was my number 4 game in 2024, so at least that spot will be new, Terra Mystica.
My number 14 was down from 11, one of the greatest games. And again, I will say this, if I could only take one game to a desert island, it would, and I could include all the expansions, of course, it would be this one, Arkham Horror 2nd Edition.
My number 14 is a pair of games that are mechanically the same, just depends what coat of paint you want on it, Star and Hero Realms by Wise Wizard Games.
My number 13 is Wingspan, down from number 3. So that's another new spot that's going to open up on my top 10 this week.
My number 13 was my number 6 in 2024, Cthulhu, Death May Die.
Oh, so you got an opening too. My number 12 is a game that I know is going to be a crossover next time we do this, as much as you're getting all the expansions for it. My number 12 is Marvel United.
You are probably not wrong in that.
It's up from number 19, by the way.
My number 12 was up 2 spots from 2024, Elder Sign by Fantasy Flight.
My number 11 was an awesome crossover game that we both really like. I like it a lot more than Phoenix, but it's Final Girl.
My number 11 is the highest new game on my list, Valkyrie, a Black Orchestra game.
Which I was looking at this week, actually, after our conversation last week. Thomas Harkless is the first to arrive. You get the grand prize of congratulations. Thank you, sir, for being here. We appreciate everyone that's come by and watched the episodes and checked them out, left comments. Although there hasn't been too many comments, which I was a little bit surprised of, but that's okay. It's been a lot of fun to do this year. And obviously, I'll be doing it every year. I know Phoenixknight might not be back for a couple years, as he's not got as big a turnover as I do, which is fine. What do we got? Do you start or do I start?
You do.
I start. Okay. Well, we don't do anything until I actually
share the screen.
Share my screen. Yes, that thing. Sharing the screen. Okay. My number 11 is one of the coolest designs, and I'm sorry, my number 10. Yes, my number 10. I'm sorry, I said the wrong number. Thomas Harkless, thank you. Yes, sir. Thank you. And we got Stuka Joe in the house. He decided to come by. He gets a silver medal for arriving second.
Very thematic for Olympic times.
That's right. My number 10 game is one of the coolest designs ever. I still think it's super cool. And it's all about crafting your own cards as you play through the game. It's a game called Mystic Veil. So what's going to happen is you're going to get these different cards that are inside a clear plastic sleeve. And you're going to, let's see if I can actually find a card. That'd be great if I could find a card. And as you progress, there's a top section, a middle section, and a bottom section. And as you progress through the game and you purchase new cards, you're going to distribute them inside your different cards. It is a little bit of push your luck because you're going to be flipping over cards, and some of the cards are good, have good effects on them, and there are some cards that are tainted and have bad effects on them. And what happens is if you ever get 3 tainted cards out at a time, you bust, and basically you lose your turn. So it's kind of a push your luck. You keep flipping over cards as long as you don't ever get more than 3, then you're not busted. And it's all about deck building, and it's all about combos, getting different things. Like this guy will give you victory points based on how many of the little helmets are in the card, and so you can see for this setup here, this guy would get a bonus because there's a helmet here, and a bonus because there's a helmet there. Plus, there's victory points he would earn. So you're building your deck as you progress, which is one of the coolest things ever. This was number what number was this last year? It was number 71 last year. So it's come up quite a ways because I really think this is an awesome game. And I got to play it a lot on my app this year, sitting in the doctor's office or waiting in the hospital when I was having my gout attack. I must have played Mystic Veil like 20 times. So it's awesome. There's a great app for it to learn how to play the game, and it is so unique and so different and one of the coolest designs out there. my number 10 bestest game of all time, Mystic Vale.
A game I've looked at off and on, just never bothered pulling the trigger. Push Your Luck is a mechanic that's always made me very shy.
You and Laney Luck don't get along very well.
I tend to spend most of my time wanting to jab a screwdriver into Lady Luck's neck. Our relationship is volatile at best. Anyway, now that you've got that visual out of the way, let's say we get into my number 10 game, which is up one spot from 2024. If I had to pick a game that did the best job at evoking the theme and giving you the tension, it would probably be this game. The ask of this one isn't really too difficult. Just go to World War II Europe, kill Hitler with the Gestapo and the deputies harassing you at every single turn. This one, we touched on it briefly last week. This is the big brother of Valkyrie. This is Black Orchestra by Tabletop Tycoon. In this one, like I said, the ask isn't that difficult. Kill Hitler with the Gestapo harassing you at every turn. There are various plots you can go through in this one, and the theme just oozes out absolutely everywhere. And you never know when the hammer's gonna drop on you. You're biding your time. This one, like I said, when it comes to evoking the theme, this is one of the best games that I would pick out. I'd probably even say this one's better at evoking the theme than some of the games higher up in my list. It's that good at evoking the theme. And it's actually fairly straightforward in the grand scheme of things. There are a few expansions that just came out. I haven't had a chance to put this out with those on the table yet. But still a very fun game. And my number 10, Black Orchestra.
I can't remember if it was 2024 or 2025 where we got together and played this online together.
I want to say 4, but I wouldn't swear to either one.
Yeah, this is another game. I know I say this a lot about a lot of games. I'd like to play it a little bit more often. It would probably make my top list because it's, as you say, very cool, very thematic. And the history, and all the historical photos and everything that are there is just oozing with, kind of the history of what happened. And you actually learn quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
My number 9 is a crossover game with Phoenixknight. We knew it was coming. It's awesome. It is super fun. It is all about managing your own death. It is a game called Bullet Heart and Bullet Star, where your board is quickly getting filled up by these different pieces, and you're trying to use your heroine's different patterns to get rid of those pieces and also attack the villain at the same time. We talked a little bit about this one when Phoenix talked about it when it was on his list. So I'm not going to get into too many details. So you can go check out that previous video. But the fun part about this is every single one of them play completely different. They have different mechanisms. They work completely different. There might be one character that only uses one pattern and only one pattern. And there's like one villain that only has one shield. All you have to do is blow up that one shield. But to get through that shield, you need to do X, Y, and Z. So they all play differently. And it's all about trying to manage things and try to figure out the puzzle. I'm a big puzzle guy. I love puzzles. I love figuring out things. And in my opinion, this is probably the highest puzzle game on my list. And it's awesome. And I'm cutting it off right there because I could go on and talk about this one for a long time. Bullet Heart and Bullet Star are the exact same game other than you get 8 different characters. So depending on which group of characters you want, you can get either one of those.
Getting through that one shield should be manageable as long as the things you have to get, as long as the A, B, and C you have to do don't involve doing double monkey backflips while sacrificing a Vestal Virgin to Great Cthulhu.
Let's hope not, right?
Agreed. My number 9 is actually at the exact same rank it was when I did this list in 2024. This is one of my first war games from GMT before I went nuclear on my GMT collection. I think this is this actually isn't the highest rated GMT game in my collection. This is Space Empires 4X. This is probably one of the only.
I said, yes.
This is probably one of the only civilization building games that I have in my collection. And you're building up your empire with your ships, getting your technology developed, trying to go through to face the other players. Actually, this is one game, because it's a war game, I've actually never played it with a group. I've only played this one solo, going after the Doomsday Machines. But there's a lot to manage in here. And I actually don't mind the economic focus. I know some people will knock it a little bit, but I actually don't mind it too much because it's kind of a way to help me focus in on what I'm trying to do in the game. But it's very combat focused. You feel the theme everywhere, and there's a lot of decision making to this one, even if you're just going after the Doomsday Machines. My number 9 game, Space Empires 4X by GMT.
Yes, and this is a crossover game with myself. Mine, I rated Space Empires number 98. So you have to go all the way back to episode 1 to watch what I thought of it, anyways, at the time. And I know Phoenixknight was thinking, I'm going to talk about this one later on.
Much later on.
Much later on. Barbara, how are you tonight? Good to see Barbara's in the house, checking everything out. Good to see Barbara in the house. All right, my number 8. My number 8. Yes, my number 8 is taking over kind of because of theme. I know Phoenixknight's a big theme guy and wants to have a lot of theme in his game. I talked about a lot of the span games. We were talking about Wingspan and Finspan. We've already seen those two. Well, my highest span game now is Wormspan because it's dragons, and kind of gives me a little bit better vibe playing the game. Although it is still kind of built for families, and it's all about the cute, fun aspect of dragons, not the like fantasy dragons that are flying around killing everything. But for me, it's a little bit more thematic than the birds. Again, you're trying to put your dragons out there, activate your different caverns. Each of the caverns will have their own special abilities based upon the different cavern pieces you put in. You can see one right here. And so you got to build your cavern, attract a dragon, put the dragon in there. So it's kind of double the work, but it's double the fun as well. I think it's it just gives you a lot more to do in the game other than Wingspan, because instead of just burning birds and dragons out, you do have to think about your caverns and how you're building your caverns and what kind of bonuses you need. And besides that, it's very familiar to Wingspan people. It's very similar in design. And it's now taken over as my number 1 span game, Wormspan.
I think if there was one span game I was going to give another look, it would probably be Wormspan, just because of the 3, dragons are the creatures I find most interesting. Birds really do screw all for me, and fish do even less than that.
Well, I mean, obviously all the dragons are fantasy, and there's also like hatchling dragons, and so it is, take it in mind, it's not about the dragons, it's more about a family game. So it's not, it's not like a fantasy game, it's like a family game, unfortunately.
Right. I'll have to keep that in mind. Anywho, my number 8 game is up 2 spots from 2024. My highest ranked GMT and my highest ranked war game looking at it. And you guys know I've made no bones about the fact that I like narrative. I like narrative in my war games. And this one really does a great job. It's actually the highest rated Gregory Smith game on the list, and probably the one that got me into his games. I am, of course, talking about The Hunters, which is a crossover from number 45. In this one, you've heard me allude to The Hunters a few times, and I'm basically putting the whole group in here: The Hunters, The Hunted, Beneath the Med, and Silent Victory. And I'll probably be lumping Sensuikon, the Japanese Hunters, from the looks of what I just did on an unboxing earlier today. So this one You're in control of a German U-boat going through 1943, I think. Basically the happy times before the Allies really started to figure out German shipping. So you're going through patrols trying to make it through to 1943 before, again, the Allies start to turn the tide on you. There's a lot of narrative in here, very easy to craft. Also a very thematic game. You've got to deal with everything that you got to go through in your U-boat. You've got your random events and all of that fun stuff. And my number 8, The Hunters.
Yep, crossover game with myself as well, and awesome game. And one of the best storytelling games out there. The events that unfold in front of you is super cool. And we have a comment here that says, Sukin follows the same pattern as well.
And
yeah.
I will apologize in advance because I'm probably butchering the Japanese. My Japanese is almost 20 years old and didn't get very fluent with it anyway. I took a year of it in college.
My number 7 is a sports game. It was number 14 last time. It's my highest rating boxing game and my second highest sports game of all time right now. I play this all the time. I play it digitally as they have a very good digital adaptation. I also have the cards and dice that I pull out every once in a while for them because I love the cards so much because they re-release these cards with tarot-sized cards for the heavyweight boxing champions. And that is, of course, if I can find it, there we are, titled Bout 2, which I believe is a crossover with Phoenixknight.
Mine was number 25 on my list.
So it's obviously a boxing simulation. It's chart-driven. You're going to be flipping cards. It's going to give you the information, and then you're going to use that information to see if a punch hit. If it lands in a power range, then it could be a knockdown or knockout. There's all kinds of charts you're going to be rolling on, and gives a great simulation of a boxing event. Every fight is a mystery. You still have the favorites that seem to do a little bit better than the underdogs because, they got a little bit better stats, but every once in a while you get a nice surprise. I think it's a great boxing simulation. It plays really well. It plays very fast, and it's a ton of fun, and it's very easy to learn, easy to play, and you can get a 12-round boxing match in under an hour. Oh, look at that ring, Phoenixknight.
Yeah.
Because you have it all set up with your own ring and everything.
Yes, I do. It's mostly to help me keep straight where everybody is in the ring.
Anything to say about this?
I talked about it already, so I'm not going to weigh in too much further on this one other than maybe, well, I was going to say maybe I need to get some more fighters or get the premium set, but...
Did you get the new tarot cards?
No, I don't have the new tarot cards yet. I'm still using the old poker-sized heavyweights.
Okay. You should look at the tarot-sized cards. I think they're really, really nice.
I'm looking at them right now on Drive-Thru-RPG.
Yeah. That's where they're at.
Or not Drive-Thru Cards, actually, but it looks like it's driving me over. Okay, it looks like it's deciding.
Normally you can get them on sale. If they're not on sale, wait, because they seem to go on sale pretty regularly.
Yeah, I'll keep an eye out for those. Anyway, my number 7 game is a crossover. It's actually your number 100 game, and it's set in the Terra Mystica world. I am talking about Gaia Project by Feuerland Spiel. This one, like I said, the simplest way to describe it is essentially space Terra Mystica. So you've got all of your planets. You're trying to terraform to get to them, but you've got to make sure you can reach out to those planets before you go crazy with that. You've got Gaia planets. You've got transdim planets that you can turn into Gaia planets, be able to colonize, building up your federations, all of that. If you're familiar with Terra Mystica, you'll mostly pick this up pretty quickly. You might have to do a little bit of initial learning just to get the feel of some of the quirks for Gaia Project, but there's a lot of factions in here, several different Automa opponents. In my number 7 game, and I know it drives you nuts, Gaia Project.
Yeah, I mean, I would love, I don't know, I love puzzles too, and I can't figure out the puzzle of this game. It's still a great game, and it's my number 100, so it's a very good game, but it's just trying to time out everything, and it's just maybe one of these things where you need to have play a little bit more. I mean, I just can't wrap my head around it. And when you play with somebody good like Phoenixknight, and he just does this amazing move on you and gets all these points, and then he's like 50 points ahead, it gets very frustrating. So you go, screw this game. My number 6 best game is up from number 21. I did a tournament. I'm actually still in the middle of this tournament this year. I started it last year, but I'm still continuing it on this year. And it is my highest rated sports game of all time in 2025. It is Glory Days College Football, believe it or not. We have a little tournament going on where we took the best undefeated teams from 2000 to 2020, put them in a bracket and playing them off, and we have one game to finish in the first round, and then we can move on to the second round. We have 2019 LSU versus Florida State from 2006, 2008. I forget what it was. So it's all about the cool thing about Glory Days. There's not much to show you guys. Like there's not a lot of pictures or anything. Um, the cool thing about Glory Days is the design is awesome, where you can play through quickly. There's a quick mode. There's also a play-by-play mode, and then there's a hybrid mode that simulates a drive. And then if the drive turns into something, then you go into like play-by-play mode. So it is it's not a full-fledged play-by-play mode, because sometimes you'll just get a drive and it'll end in a punt, and then you just move the little pawn around. Um, it does a great job of simulating college football. It's got a bunch of the different teams. It has the the sets that were available, and I'm not sure they're still available on Sideline Strategy. Had all 132 different college football teams, but I think now they're releasing it with more of just like a set number of teams. So you have to look at what the Sideline Strategies site says if this is interesting for you. But I love college football. It's my number one, probably my number one game of all time. And college football, and I've been looking for a really good game that plays it. And Glory Days plays it great, because you can get a game done in about 90 minutes. That is true. And so it's fun. You still feel the ebb and flow of the game, but it doesn't drag down when you spend 25 minutes doing a drive that ends in a punt. And instead, it takes you like 30 seconds and you're done with that drive because it didn't go anywhere or didn't do anything. So my number 6 and my highest sports game of all time is Glory Days College Football.
Glory Days College Football didn't make my list. I haven't had a chance to play it yet, but I do see that there's a new all-time great college teams set on Sideline Strategy, only 32 teams, but you have to have the 2024 version of Glory Days Football to use it.
Yeah. Did your Glory Days Pro Football make the list?
That did not.
Okay. All right.
And that is probably my Amazon delivery right now. So after I go through my number 6 game, I'm going to go pick that up real quick. After I go through my number 6 game, when I get back, I will show off that delivery.
All right. Well, we're going to take just a break as Phoenix has decided to go get the package. And I don't know why his Amazon people are delivering at 8:30 8:30 on a Sunday night. That is crazy. Am I the only one that thinks that, like, wow, that's a different schedule? Did you get it?
Just coming in with it now. Besides, I can't be held responsible when Amazon decides to buzz the door on me. Anyway, my number 6 game is a crossover. It was your number 36 game, actually. This one, I alluded to this one briefly when we were talking about Lost Ruins of Arnak, and how I picked this one over it. And yep, this one is Dune Imperium that I'm talking about. This is a combination worker placement deck builder game. Worker placement is usually a mechanic I don't go for, but I think because this one leans into the deck building aspect a little bit more, I do like this one. And there's a lot of different characters in the Dune universe. I've watched both of the Dune movies, and I actually have the visual novels for Dune. I'm in book 3 right now. I've got to start that at some point. But on your turn, you play out a card to send an agent somewhere, or you can take a reveal turn to buy from the Imperium row. It's a standard deck builder, so you've got your always available cards, or the various cards on the Imperium row. A lot of different places to go. You've got a conflict to manage, so you've got to manage that as well. And my number 6 game, Dune Imperium.
It is a very good game. Very good, interesting game. And it always plays completely different than how you think it's going to turn out. That's for sure.
Yep.
Drives me crazy.
There's a lot.
So good. I mean, crazy good. It's not like crazy bad. It's like crazy good.
Now,
Did you want to do your unboxing?
That's just what I was going to do. I just got this in from Amazon literally about 2 minutes ago. First thing we're going to be greeted by in here is more coin capsules, which these I use for my Arkham Horror, the card game token sets. So you dump those in the bag. It's actually protecting the tokens is what those are doing. And then the other thing that we're greeted by in here, let me fold this up. Let me make sure this should be the newest expansion, I think. I think this is the new one. I know there was one that just came out. Let me just double check. Let me make sure I ordered the right thing. Not that. Yeah, I think this should be it. This is the newest expansion. This is Heat Tunnel Vision for Heat Pedal to the Metal, offering the 2 newest expansions being Spain and I think the Netherlands is the newest expansion. So I'm not going to I'll probably do an unboxing on that at some point.
Cool. Heat's a great game. Heat didn't make your list, did it?
I thought it did. Let me look. Yes, it did. It was actually my number 49 game.
Okay, and let's see. Mine was actually 111, so it didn't make my top 100. Crazy. I thought it would have. Huh. Thank you.
Well, I think we're on your number 5 next.
My number 5. Thank you. Yes, Christoph, how you doing, buddy? Good to see you. Good to see everyone. Tim Zales, how you doing, buddy? Good to see you. And we'll switch back the cameras here, because I'm sure Phoenix doesn't want to be the center of attention.
Not particularly.
My number 5 was up from number 9, so it was my top 10 last year. It was in my top 10 the year before that. It's been in my top 10 for a long, long time. It'll probably stay in the top 10 for a long, long time. It is my highest war game. Do you have an idea what it is? I know Phoenixknight probably does.
I'm pretty sure I know what it is.
Yes, it's Combat Commander. And I know we got together and tried to play it. I tried to teach it to you, and you kind of are like deers in the headlights. But for me, this is like a great chaotic narrative game that I think you would really enjoy if you ever got over this hump and stopped looking at everything as as black and white, right? So you're playing cards. There's no dice in this game. You're playing cards. You're having all kinds of random events, random things happening. It's very easy to learn, very easy to manage, but yet every time you play, it's going to be completely different. The maps are 21 squares by 21, so it's not a huge, massive, table hog either. I mean, it's a very reasonable sized um, game, and it simulates tactical warfare really, really well. It's probably stay in my top 10 for a long, long time. It's if you don't like chaos, if you don't like crazy things happening, if you don't like this random events and crazy nonsense like that happening, you might not enjoy this game. But for me, it's just a joy to play, especially when you play against someone that's equal skill level as you. A Cardboard Commander and myself have played this several times, and we've had a great time playing it every time. I got in the Combat Commander ladder for a little while, which I highly recommend you check out. The Combat Commander ladder, run by Patrick Pence, the greatest guy in the planet, and does a great job with the ladder. And you meet some really good people. So if you're into Combat Commander, but you're like, I just don't play because I don't have anyone to play, you got no excuses because it's a great group of guys to hang out with and play. My number 5 bestest game of all time is Combat Commander Europe.
Admittedly, part of my hang up with Combat Commander could be that it could be twofold, that I mostly don't have anybody to play it with, and the people who I could conceivably play it with would probably clean my clock every single time. And I think just playing with that skill gap might be part of what's made me so salty toward Combat Commander.
It can be very frustrating, but remember, when you're playing Gaia Project against someone and you're kicking their ass, you don't feel bad at all, do you? Do you?
Anyway.
Yeah, exactly. And just to say, Christoph says he's waiting for the solo bot that GMT is coming out with. Yes, I actually was in talks with or texting Mike Butterjelly from GMT, a good friend of the channel, and he had mentioned that he is working hard on the solo mode for Combat Commander. So maybe someday there'll be a solo mode for this game as well. So that would be an exciting addition.
That might be what it takes for me to take another look at Combat Commander.
Yes.
Anyway.
I mean, Twilight Inscription, you remember playing that when you were killing me like 1,000 points to 1?
It wasn't. I didn't
It's
think it was.
It's all about experience. Like, obviously, if you play a game a lot, you're going to have a lot more experience than somebody else. So, you have to take that into grain of salt. That's why I said if you play with somebody with an equal skill level, very similar skill level than you, it's a great game. Like me and you playing against one another is not. It's not fun for me because I'm playing against somebody that's new and he's not sure what he's doing. And for you, it's not fun because you're playing against somebody that's played a lot, and so you can't abuse him. You can't do things to him as you could a new player.
Yeah. Anyway, my number 5 game, we figured this was definitely going to be a crossover game. This one is actually in the same spot it was when I did this list in 2024. This one is the second leg of Christmas in Arkham and the Summer of Lovecraft. I am, of course, talking about Arkham Horror 2nd Edition. There's a lot that you've said about this one already, but it's another very thematic game. And there's also several different sideboards. Probably, yep, that's the one that we want. So a lot of the sideboards that give you the cool adventures. Each of the different ancient ones also creates their own havoc on the game, both in terms of what they do to modify the game and what they do in terms of the final battle in case you wake up the Ancient One. The one thing that needs to be mentioned, of course, is that this one is obscenely expensive to get a hold of everything. I don't remember what it cost me to get a hold of everything, but it was not cheap, especially since I got into the Arkham Horror files after this one was out of print. And I bounced off of 3rd edition in favor of this one. My number 5 game, Arkham Horror 2nd edition.
Yeah, you can get the core game very cheap. It's the expansions that are the killer. And
Yep.
And as you can see, there's a lot of variability with all the different ancient ones to go against. And some of these names are crazy. And you say them like they're your brother's name. I'm like, how does he even know who the hell these people are? Or, these character names. Well, it's unbelievable. And a lot of different playable characters as well.
Yep.
And I knew it would be a crossover. But I wasn't sure how high it was going to go, and it made it all the way to number 5. That's impressive.
Yeah.
And my number 4 game of all time was number 5 last year. Now it went up a spot. It went up a single spot from number 5 to number 4. This game has taken me over as the first time I ever played it, and I fell in love with it, and now there's a board game arena adaptation for this that I play all the time. Like literally, I think I played this game like 20 or 25 times last year. It is such a quick roll and write game. It's unbelievable. And it is number 4. Bestest game of all time is Cartographers, which is a crossover with Phoenixknight. And it's all about just taking a Tetris piece and trying to fit it on your map the best you can so you can get the best scoring. And that's pretty much all you're doing is you're going to score in the first year, you're going to score A and B. And the second year, you're going to score B and C. The third season, you're going to score C and D. And the final season is D and A. So every season is going to score twice. But you're gonna progress through the game this way, and then you're trying to get lots and lots of points, but you don't want to focus just on one thing because that every season's only going to score twice. There's a ton of different maps. There's a hero expansion. There's a monster expansion. There's all kinds of different maps with different ways to play and different rules associated with the map, and it's so quick and simple and such a great design. And Thunderworks, again, I keep saying this every time a Thunderworks games comes on my list, but Thunderworks has such great, interesting games. They're not the same old stupid games that you get from all these other companies. Like, this is a game that will never be duplicated because it's just one of these games that came out of nowhere. And for me, 15 minutes, and you can sit down and play this game 4 times in an hour. It's so simple, so quick. And there is a solo score mode that you can use as well. So technically there's a solo mode, and it's kind of like beat your score, but you need a certain score to actually get to 0. And then as many points as you score over 0 is like your final score. So it's very cool.
Shockingly, this one was not a crossover, and that seemed like it feels like an oversight on my part.
Wow, I am shocked. As much as you played this game, it didn't make your list.
Well, it was mostly an oversight on my part. Anyway, I do really enjoy this game. It probably should have been on the list, to be perfectly honest. Anywho, my number 4 game is actually my biggest riser in the list. This one's up 49 spots from number 53. This one is also set in the Terra Mystica universe. By process of elimination, you can probably figure out what this one is because there are only 3 games that are set in that world.
Well, there's Terra Mystica, obviously.
It's a game you predicted when it first hit my list that was eventually going to take Terra Mystica's place.
Age of Innovation.
That's the one. So I think the simplest way to describe Age of Innovation is probably a hybrid between Terra Mystica and Gaia Project. It's got the more fantasy-focused terrain of Terra Mystica, but it's got a lot more of the bonuses, I think, with Gaia Project, between the competency tiles and the innovations that you can get from this game. So just like Terra Mystica and Gaia Project, it's a 6-round game, and then you're scoring victory points. It's got the same power cycle mechanic. It's got the same power cycle mechanic, the same terraforming cycle, essentially. The thing I really like about this game is, rather than the factions being tied to the terrain type, like in Terra Mystica, where you're playing the witches, you always play the witches on the forest. In this game, you might get, say, the witches tied to swampland, for example, or psychics to mountains. Where I'm going with that is the setup is the terrain and the factions are always randomized, and you get different bonuses depending on what combination you end up with. But again, gameplay is very similar to Terra Mystica and Gaia Project in different ways. In my number 4 game, Age of Innovation, which is up 49 spots from number 53 in 2024.
Nice. Well, my number 3, and then there was 3 games left. There's only 3 spots left on my list, 3 spots on Phoenixknight's list, and I can guarantee that this game hasn't been talked about yet, and it's going to be talked about twice in the next 20 minutes because it's very high up on my list. It was actually number 52 last year. Rose up a bunch. I played it a couple times on my channel. And, of course, Phoenixknight had me over on his channel to play it for the Winter in Arkham.
Christmas in Arkham.
Christmas in Arkham. I like calling it Winter in Arkham for some reason. Of course, I'm talking about Eldritch Horror. It's taken me a long time to have this game take over for where Arkham Horror used to be. Arkham Horror used to be in the top 3, 4, 5 games, and I loved it. This one, I think, plays better solo, and it also plays better multiplayer. It's just easier to manage and be able to do things with, and still gives you a great narrative story, but it gives you more of a big picture, as opposed to worrying about one town and what's going on in that town and the surrounding area. You have to worry about everything that's going on. The expansions add so much to this game with all of the different destruction. There's one game where you start with some places that might be destroyed. Each setup card is completely different, and it's just a really fun time to play it. I think you can play this game solo. Obviously, you can play it multiplayer. Me and Phoenix did it. And each of us are running 2 characters, and that was a lot of fun as well. It just kept moving up, and every time I thought about it, like, if it's between these 2 games, Arkham Eldritch Horror wins. If it's between these 2, it moved, and so it kept moving up the list all the way from 52 up to number 3. And I, again, guarantee that we're going to be talking about this game again shortly.
Well, not in the immediate future, but yeah, don't go too far with that tab. My number 3 game is also a crossover. Actually, I think all of my top 3 games at this point are crossovers. But this one was your number 16 game. I'm talking about Aeon's End from Indie Boards and Cards. Now, we've talked about Aeon's End several times in this countdown already, between my talking about Aeon's End Legacy and Jester talking about it, Aeon's End at number 16. So really not too much to add with this one. There's a lot of variety with the different magi, the different nemesis that you've got in here. And as I mentioned, even the legacy magi can come in. Actually, some of the legacy enemies can come in as well and be part of your future games of Aeon's End. So, and the nice thing is, like you've mentioned, everything from the deck gets set up in the specific way you think you need it. But when you run out, you literally just turn the deck over and draw from that. So my number 3 game, Aeon's End, which is in the exact same place. Actually, all 3 of my top 3 games are in the exact same order.
Yep, and the initiative system, I keep mentioning that as well. It's just so cool because you're just never sure who's going to go next and who's going to go last and who's going to go first and who's going to go first next turn. It's going to be completely random. It's not a like go around the table type game. So that's really cool.
Reminds me of a classic JRPG, like a mid 2000s Final Fantasy. Well, actually, probably an early 2000s Final Fantasy.
We have Cardboard Commanders in the house. What is up, fellas? He says we are just doing the best game countdown of all time, and we're down to 2. And there's 2 games that I have not mentioned yet. And to nobody's surprise, they're number 1 and number 2 again. Now the question is, which one's going to come in 2 and which one's going to come in number 1? Let's just not leave you all hanging. Let's just get it out right off the bat. I'm sure you probably figured this out. My number 2 is Marvel Champions, the card game, which is a crossover with Phoenix. What was yours?
Number 23.
Number 23. It's all about the superheroes and building your deck. I know Phoenixknight had this one rated higher than Sentinels of the Multiverse because of the aspect of being able to configure the decks and build the decks around the heroes and change the decks at a moment's notice. And that is fun and interesting and super cool if you enjoy deck building. I'm, to be honest, not a huge deck building guy. I'll get on the DB database. What was it called? Where I can't
Marvel
remember.
CDB is probably
Marvel DBD deck building list, and I'll find a deck for one of the heroes, and I'll download it and play it, and I'll have a good time with it. I'm not a big build it and test it and run through and play this over and over and over again just to test my deck and see how it is against different villains. And I know there's people that play Marvel Champions all the time. I will say, in 2025, I played Marvel Champions like 42 times. It's a really good game, yes. And it's awesome. I really, really like it. And even though I talk down about it because of, again, the deck building aspect of it, and, every time you take cards in and out of a deck, it takes the power level. So for me, like you have to have a power level that's, your side versus their side is pretty equal. If your side is way up here and their power level is way down here, it's not going to be a fun game. Same thing if their power level is way up and your power level is way down. And that's based on, the different cards you have in your deck and the power level of the character and everything else. So, there is a lot of great things with the LCG again, but there is a lot of problems with the LCG. All the heroes that are originally released haven't been redone, haven't been looked at, haven't been updated. So all the new characters have all the fun, cool, interesting things, and all the original characters are kind of the weakest characters in the game, which are unfortunate because I love the Avengers the most. Black Panther, Spider-Man, Hulk, and the Hulk is like considered the worst character in the game, which is a darn shame. But it's still a great game. There's a lot of great things to say about this, and it's my number 2 game of all time, Marvel Champions.
I'm going to hold this close to the vest, but the Marvel Champions could end up being part of something I'm going to be starting to do in the off season once I get done with my 2001 season replay.
Wow, that would be awesome. That would be awesome.
My number 2 game.
Find out now.
Well, we've got a little bit of a ways to go on that on my 2001 replay before we get anywhere near that. My number 2 game. Fortunately, I don't need to say too much about this game because you already talked about it at number 3. This is, of course, Eldritch Horror, so I'm not going to take too much of the thunder. There's really not much that I can rehash that you haven't already talked about. So I'm just going to kindly shut up and we'll move on.
No, I mean, seriously, you should tell us why do you enjoy this one? Why is it your number 2 game of all time?
Well, there's, like you said, there's such a narrative aspect to this one. And the funny thing about this one is I remember when I was first looking into games to get back when I was getting in the tabletop hobby back in 2019, I initially saw this game and I was like, I saw this game on video a few times. I actually saw it on discount at my old local game store. I saw it on video and I was like, I'm not really impressed by this. Then my birthday in 2019 came around and I was like, oh, what the hell, I'll grab it and try it out a little bit. And basically a love affair was kind of born at that point, where I was definitely in that world at that point. So really enjoyed the game, the various characters, kind of building up my main team that I've got from pretty much anything in the Arkham Horror files. Again, there's a big story that can be told with this game, and this ended up being one of the cornerstones for a campaign that I run on the channel twice a year: Christmas in Arkham and the Summer of Lovecraft. This is actually the first game in both of those campaigns. But again, just such a variety with the different character powers that you've got in there, how you strategize around your team, kind of building that out, making everything work, and the various ancient ones that cause their own brands of chaos in this game. And my number 2, Eldritch Horror.
Yeah, I'm not going to, because I just talked about it, I'm not going to go into any details, but I want you to be able to talk about it. I mean, yes, we just talked about it, but that's fine. I'm sure you have different reasons for liking it. And, and to have it so high up on your list, there's got to be good reasons to, be that high up on the list. And you have all the expansions as well, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I figured you did. And do you find the expansions? I mean, I really think the expansions add a lot of good variety to the game. What do you think?
Yeah, they add a lot of variety to the game, and the one thing is the preludes kind of prevent you from playing with everything in one shot, where it's usually pull one prelude, set it up that way, so you're not getting the sprawling mess usually with the preludes that you do have the potential from Arkham Second Edition. There's not nearly as much sprawl with Eldritch as there is with Second Edition. That's for sure.
Those prelude cards were absolutely ingenious because, like, you get everything ready to go, and then you bring out the prelude card that changes how the game plays at a moment's notice, and it's gonna, like, basically change the game the instant you start it. And it's like, wow, like, this is amazing. Hello.
Yeah.
Do you agree with that?
Sorry, I'm just kind of just thinking and reflecting on what a long day it's been.
All right. Well, we'll try and wrap it all up here with our number 1 board games of all time. And I'm not going to introduce mine. I'll introduce yours, and you introduce mine. Okay?
Works for me.
I'm sure I can guess yours, and I'm sure you can guess mine.
And I'm going to cheat a little bit because I can very slightly read, but your number 1 is Sentinels of the Multiverse.
Correct. My number 1 board game, which was number 1 last year, I should have mentioned. Marvel Champions was also number 2 last year. So this same number 1, same number 2. Sentinels of the Multiverse, Definitive Edition / Original Enhanced Edition, whatever, it doesn't matter. I'm just going to lump it all into one. And for me, this has been the greatest love affair in board gaming in my existence. I love this. There is no deck building. You know the power level of each character when you play them. Every character plays differently. Each character does different things. Each villain does different things, but you know what they can do. So you go, oh, this character versus this villain is fair and it's equal because they're at the same power level. Yeah, it's just, for me, it's just so quick and easy to set up on the table. You're going to take 4 decks out for the different characters. You're going to shuffle them up. Boom, you're ready to go. You take the villain deck and you shuffle it up, and boom, you're ready to go. And then you take an environment deck, and boom, you're ready to go. Every time you play with all the different characters and the different villains and the different environments changes the game. So it's going to be completely different every time you play. And even though you're using the same cards and the same deck with the same heroes. Cool thing about Sentinels of the Multiverse is they do have different hero cards for each of the different heroes with their own special abilities. And now with the brand new Desperation, which, yes, it was released, and I do have my copy, which I am one of the very lucky few people in the world to actually have a copy of this game. Sentinels of the Multiverse, Desperation. I never thought I was going to hold this in my hand at all. And I'm so lucky to have this game. And I am so blessed because it is my number one game of all time. I love it. And I can play this game every day for the rest of the year and be happy. And there's just so much content with all the expansions and everything. And now, again, with this release, it adds 6 new heroes and 9 villains, 5 environment cards. If you were just to play the content in this box alone, you could have up to like 380 different combinations, somewhere in that neighborhood. You would 6 times 9. Let's see. I don't know. I can't calculate this that quickly. But anyway, so you'd have a whole bunch of different combinations just in that box. Yet in the core box, again, I could talk about this game for hours and hours and hours and hours because I love it so much. Sentinels, to no one's surprise, still my number one game. And I did play Definitive Edition 13 times last year and Enhanced Edition 27 times. So I did play it a bunch on the channel.
Just don't start.
Now I will introduce you to Phoenixknight's number one board game of all time because, again, we know each other so well. And let me guess, it's going to be Arkham Horror, except for I got to spell Arkham right.
I was going to say about don't start lovingly caressing it.
Game is my guess for your number one game of all time.
To the shock of nobody except possibly for my non-existent cat, this is my number one game of all time. This is one of my gateway games that got me into the hobby in the first place. Because back in 2019, I was just getting out of Magic the Gathering and needed something new to get into. I had one of my buddies in my old game store whispering in my ear about Final Fantasy XIV, and another buddy whispering in my ear about the Arkham Horror files. And I decided that at that moment I was going to offer my social life to Great Cthulhu and get into Arkham Horror, the card game, because I like the narrative aspect, the various characters, although that I didn't find out until I dug into it later. And funnily enough, Great Cthulhu not only didn't accept my social life, he kind of enhanced it a little bit in a weird way. So like I said, there's a lot of replayability with all the campaigns, all the investigators that you can get into, all the investigator cards. So you can try to dig into all of that. The one thing I will say, though, is it is definitely a time, money, and lifestyle sink because there's a lot of content you've got to go chasing. I've gotten to the point where with every new campaign that comes out, I buy a new core set. And there are 2 reasons I do that. Because each campaign uses something from the core sets, and it's easier with all the core sets to keep the start of the chaos bag together for every campaign. So because the bags will eventually change over the course of the campaign. It is a bag pull, so there is that aspect that you've got to get a little bit used to. It's not a bag builder, but you have your skill test, you commit your cards, then you pull a modifying token out of the chaos bag. And then the result of that determines how you succeed or fail at the skill test. My number one game, again, to the shock of almost no one, Arkham Horror, the card game.
Yeah, I could have bet $1,000 that this is going to be your number one, and I'm sure you could have bet $1,000 that I was going to do Sentinels of the Multiverse. We're just kind of creatures of habit with our number one games at this point. But I will say, Dominion was my number one game 5 years ago. So it has fallen down. So eventually maybe Sentinels will fall down. And this year, actually, I will say it came close to actually falling down because there is no solo mode for this game. So you do have to manage 3 or 4 or 5 characters at a time for the solo player, which can be a little bit much. So let's rehash what we did really quickly for everyone out there. My number 10 was Mystic Veil, up from number 71.
Mine was Black Orchestra, up from number 11.
My number 9 was Bullet Star / Bullet Heart, which was up from number 13.
Mine was Space Empires 4X by GMT, exact same placement.
My number 8 was Wormspan, up from number 22.
My number 8 was my highest ranked war game to answer Cardboard Commander's question, The Hunters, up 2 spots from 2024.
My number 7 was Title Bout 2, up from number 14.
My number 7 was Gaia Project, up 1 spot from number 8.
My number 6 was my highest sports game, Glory Days College Football, which was up from number 21.
My number 6 was Dune Imperium, up 1 spot.
My number 5 was the to answer Combat Commander, was my highest war game on the list, Combat Commander Europe, which was up from number 9 previous year.
My number 5 was the exact same spot from 2024, Arkham Horror, 2nd edition.
My number 4 was up from number 5, so it moved up a single spot, Cartographers, awesome game.
My number 4 was up 49 spots, my biggest riser on my list, Age of Innovation.
Speaking of biggest risers, my number 3 was the biggest riser for my top 10, which was up from number 52, Eldritch Horror.
My number 3 was, again, exact same spot, Aeon's End.
My number 2 was number 2 last year, Marvel Champions, that get just barely got nipped out this year, believe it or not, in my power rankings. It wasn't close 2 years ago, but it was much closer. So next year, maybe there'll be a new champion.
My number 2 was the exact same spot, Eldritch Horror.
And my number 1, I love this game to bits. And again, I am in love with the new expansion, and I'm so blessed and happy to have this. I never thought it was coming into existence. In 2025, on my birthday, April 17th, Digital Extremes went out of business and crushed my heart. I left board gaming for 4 months because I was so depressed, because I love this game so much, and I realized I will probably never see this game. Sentinels of the Multiverse, my number 1.
My number 1 was my number 1 game in 2024, Arkham Horror, the card game.
Did you keep a list before 2024, right? You did.
I think that was a top 50 list, if I remember.
What was your number 1 in the top 50?
Probably Arkham Horror, the card game. Let me see if I can unhide.
Okay, so Arkham Horror has been your number 1 forever, or for at least the last 3 or 4 years.
Yeah. Let me see if I can unhide it here. Yep, it was Arkham Horror, the card game.
Okay. All right. I kind of figured it was. That's why I was wondering if you had something else in there or not. But wow, folks, that is the Super Bowl is over. And just like when the Super Bowl actually ends, there's like a little wall in the action and everyone's all depressed because it's like the season's over. But for us, I know Phoenixknight's like, wow, thank God it's over now.
Mostly because I want to pick up the pace on 2001 at this point, my season replay.
Yes, and now you can do it on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday.
Probably still not going to do it on Tuesday or Wednesday for that matter. I think I'm going to leave Tuesday as an off night, and Wednesday I get back to varied content because I had to reschedule a few Thursday blocks to Wednesday to accommodate this.
And we appreciate you, and we're glad to have you again. It's good to hear your comments about the games that I like, whether you like them or not. It's always good to find out, hear a different view, because people that are watching this, they want to hear what your honest opinion is. That's why you're here. And we had Higher Ground Gaming, which actually did this with us a couple years ago in the chats, and we haven't had a chance to say hello to him. And Meandering Mike has showed up as well. Extra core sets. I mean, yes, we all do. I mean, most of us do it. Like to be honest, like I own like 6 of these core sets for Sentinels of the Multiverse. I got so many I have to stack them under my desk. That's how many I have.
Well, in my defense, I do have a reason for buying them. I do have a logical purpose behind buying the extra core sets for Arkham. Because like I said, it's easier to keep the starting chaos bags together, and the encounter sets from the cores get used in the other campaigns.
And you got fresh new cards and all kinds of great rewards. And you know, you get a card that's misprinted or whatever, then the next season you get a new set and it's you get it all fixed up, ready to go.
if needed.
If needed, yes. Yes, more worker placement. I know Higher Ground is the big worker placement guy. Like 9/10 of his, remember that, Phoenix? 9/10 of his list was worker placement. He
Well, if
said
you
the
want,
whole time when we was doing his little spiel, he'd be like, "And another worker placement game."
look in that direction if you want more worker placement.
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
always been shy around worker placement.
I like worker placement. They've always been good to me. Well, that's it. The Super Bowl is over. Had a great time doing it, and we don't have to do it again until 2026. Wow.
You
I
mean
don't know,
2027?
2027.
It is
What's I meant?
2027.
2027. We'll do our list from 2026 in 2027. And there's a couple things coming up on my channel, and then we'll talk about what's coming up on the Phoenixknight channel. Myself, I'm going to be doing another Stratomatic baseball game here as soon as we're done. Doing the 2008 ALCS Game 3, where Tampa Bay Rays are headed to Boston, and we're doing that with Stratomatic Baseball. And then tomorrow night, on Monday night, I'm surprised you didn't show up tonight, we're going to have Lower Slower Board Gamer on the channel, and I think we're going to be playing Twilight Struggle. That's our plan, if we can find a way that to play it multiplayer that we can both agree on. Otherwise, we might play something else. But tomorrow night at 7 o'clock, we're going to have Lower Slower back on the channel. And is there anything else that I'm scheduling at this time? I don't think I have anything else scheduled. We had a great time on Combat Commanders channel last week. On Thursday, I was on his channel, so check out Combat Commander and check out that episode. We had a great time, but unfortunately, I was able to beat him again. Phoenix. Can you believe that? Every time we play a game, I beat him. This time it was about, I got to rant about a game, he got to rant about a game, I got to rant about a game, and then he got to rant about a game, and then we had the chat decide who won the debate, and I won the debate. So I am a professional ranter now because I've won it multiplayer against someone.
Looks like there's a TTS module for Twilight Struggle if that's what you're looking for.
A TTS module for Twilight Struggle. Okay.
Yep.
Oh, and look, it's Combat Commander. He's like yawn. Oh, it was great. We had a great time on his channel. And so now that's what's coming up on my channel, Phoenix.
Well, we're going to be busy on the channel because tomorrow night, speaking of your Tampa Bay Rays, they're actually the Devil Rays in 2001, and they're going to the Metrodome in Minneapolis, Minnesota to play the Twins. Wednesday, we're playing Super Boss Monster by Brotherwise Games. Saturday, Mystical Munchies continues out of the Cooking with Deadpool cookbook as we're making the entree, Breakfast Chimney. And next week, we've got another new game debut on the channel as we're playing Marvel Zombies by Simon. Marvel Zombies will also be part of that project with Marvel Champions that I'm going to hold close to the vest, and that's all I'm going to say about that.
Ooh, I see a Marvel theme thing going on here. Ha ha ha! With Marvel United, Marvel Champions, Marvel Zombies. Aha! I've got it all worked out in my head now. I know exactly what's going on. Anyways, probably sometime this year, 2026, me and Phoenixknight will collab on a couple other projects that he's doing or I'm doing. So we'll be able to get together again sometime soon, hopefully, and have a great time doing it, whatever it is. But in the meantime, enjoy your 2001's baseball payoff pitch baseball season. And yeah, enjoy your mystical munchies.
Let's just hope that 2001 replay doesn't continue doing all the drunk stuff that it's been doing.
I'm sure it is. Crazy nonsense that's going on. And as our Higher Ground Gaming says, there's a bunch of shenanigans going on. That's right. 2001 is a bunch of shenanigans. All right. Thanks, everyone, for watching these episodes. If you did, we appreciate it. We Love to have any comments about our thoughts and suggestions about games. And if any of these games you pick any of them up because of our recommendation, let us know in the comments section how you enjoyed the game. We are very passionate gamers. We spend most of our time gaming, so we're very passionate about our list. And I really think my list is awesome, and I'm hoping to share it with everyone out there. That's why I do this every year. It's a lot of work and a lot of effort, but for me, it's all about sharing it with the people that I love out there. So thanks everyone for coming out and watching. That's all I have to say. Phoenix, you got any closing comments?
I think you pretty much covered it. My plan with the countdown is to do it every other year because I'm hoping to not have as much churn on my list as you've got on yours.
So we'll maybe see you in 2028 then.
As of now, that's probably going to be the plan.
All right, everyone. Thank you for joining me again for another Super Bowl on my channel. We'll see you guys soon. Until then, you take care of yourselves. Have a good evening, and we'll be back probably in less than a half an hour with our 2008 Game 3 Tampa Bay at Boston.
See you guys.